Hey there, and welcome to U Talk. We highlight stories from across Canada, the diverse cultures and communities living here, and organizations and individuals that help make life the best it can be. I'm your host, Ryan Funk. August 6th to 8th, Folklorama Fusion, the one unified virtual experience, is taking place. The One Multicultural Fusion event is the first time the ethnocultural member communities that make up the pavilions will virtually showcase their heritage. Here's Executive Director Teresa to tell us more about this virtual festival and the history of Folklorama.
Thank you for having me, Ryan. Teresa Cotroneo, I'm the Executive Director here at Folklorama and have been in this particular role for 3 years. And previous to that was actually the Director of Member and Festival Services. So I oversaw the execution of the festival itself.
Oh, that's super exciting. Yeah, how was your experience? How have you enjoyed being a part of Folklorama?
Well, it's actually, it's surreal. It's been part of my life since I was 12 years old. I was literally, involved right from the get-go, first as a performer at one of the pavilions and then as a volunteer through the years. And then all of a sudden found myself on the corporate side, just based on, my actual professional experience. It all came full circle. So it's definitely more than a job, definitely a passion project for me. And I feel blessed to be part of this organization.
Yeah, that just seems to be the thing. You find something that you're passionate about, and the next thing you know, you're working there.
Yeah, and it's awesome too, right? It makes it extra special.
Yeah, and now that I'm living in Winnipeg, I can't wait to check the festival out, and just all the festivals in Winnipeg. It's something, especially with COVID, have been able to check out, and now I'm ready to just get out there and experience everything.
Yeah.
So how about, for those who are unaware, what is Folklorama?
Well, I'm probably not going to find many people who don't know what Folklorama is, but for the sake of those who don't, so the organization really is best known for our flagship event, which is a 2-week multicultural festival that takes place every August. We always kick off on the August long weekend, running for 14 days. We have about half of our 40 plus pavilions that run 1 week, and then they flip and we have another 20 or so that run the second week. And we are actually the longest, world's largest and longest running multicultural festival of its kind, right here in Little Winnipeg.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's what we're best known for. And then on a year-round basis, we have, a ethnocultural arts division where we have all of our ethnocultural artists, performers who you see at the festival, as well as many others who are solo artists that actually perform year-round, both for celebration, culture, but also for education. So we have, a teaching program, talent program, and we're a 365-day operation.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. You mentioned longest running. So when was it established and how has it evolved over the years?
Well, it's actually the Folk Art Council of Winnipeg, as we're commonly known. Those conversations began way back in the mid-60s. For a group of individuals who were looking to establish a core nucleus of, the different cultures in our Manitoba fabric. And the first actual festival took place in 1970. So that was actually supposed to be in celebration of Manitoba's centennial. And it was so popular, it continued, of course. Here we are, over 50 years later. It was humble beginnings. There was, I believe, 21 community pavilions that took place that first year, and there were 90,000 visits. And in our last festival in 2019, we had 43 pavilions and recorded 455,000 visits. So the evolution is amazing.
I guess just another aspect is just think about how technology kind of ties into festivals in the modern day. Like back in the 70s, you didn't have the internet yet. You just had kind of radio and newspaper and television. But yeah, you didn't have social media and all those things. So that's probably changed things a lot as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we're able obviously to speak to a different demographic than we would usually hit if it wasn't for social media. That's definitely been one of the great things about that. But we're also, able to, well, we haven't had to stream before, but now we're able to provide a lot of our programming and workshops that we're developing online, which is something that I guess is one of the silver linings of COVID. It kind of pivoted us into that direction. So that's fantastic because we're able to reach audiences that normally attend a festival, or even those that are international that don't usually have that opportunity. So yeah, technology is great. Absolutely.
Fantastic. And we'll probably get into a little bit more about that in terms of the streaming in just a bit. But yeah, talking about how things have happened over the past almost two-ish years. What were some of the challenges the festival faced during the pandemic?
Coming off of 2019, which was our 50th, and which was just a year of celebration, we literally went from one of our highest attendances in recent years to there's absolutely no way that a major event is going to happen. So it was very surreal, because no matter what we do business-wise, the festival is still the number one revenue generator for the organization. And all of a sudden, we weren't going to have it, and there wasn't going to be any cash flow. And we didn't know for how long that would happen. So we had to cut down our team. We had to figure out how we were going to keep the doors open, just as far as from an organizational perspective. And then we also had to reimagine some of our programming. So if we weren't able to have people come to the festival, how do we have the festival go to people, in a smaller scale? So out of that came some great at home, at work, at school programs last year, where we took a mini festival experience and brought it into people's backyards and did it, within the COVID parameters. So we went through the shock and awe of what we were facing, I think like many people did. And then it was the creativity and the reimagining of things to get through the year.
What do you think was kind of learned during the pandemic in terms of skills and, organization within the festival? And what do you think, how do you think those skills will help benefit the festival and Folklorama moving forward?
Well, when it comes to the festival itself, we really are the conduit to oversee and support the operations of our pavilions. It's truly our volunteers who are the operational force. And I have to give credit where credit is due. So it'll be interesting to see what the festival looks like going forward as far as expectations of the public and everything else. There's still a lot of discussions to be had and skills to be learned. I would say as an organization, we definitely learned how valuable our ethnocultural arts division is. Something that we've always seen the value in, but I think that the public has seen more value in and become more aware of. And, also just the talent of the team that surrounds us, and the flexibility of people to do what needs to be having that passion for the organization and being able to do whatever we needed to do, whether it was in the job description or not, to be able to execute and keep culture alive and Folklorama alive in people's minds over the last year and a half.
Of course. We always want to celebrate, the diverse cultures here in Canada. Festivals like this, not only do they, bring money into the community through tourism or just people coming in for the festival for a day, it helps build community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the things, about Manitoba is, we are such a multicultural community, and I have no doubt that Folklorama's legacy is truly having kept that community vibe, those communities vibrant. Many communities really, it's their anchor, right? They may not see each other all year, but they're going to come together for 6 months of the year to start working towards this pavilion and the planning, and it just becomes second nature. And others are very active all year round. They're all very different, but it's definitely one of the things I heard the most. It wasn't even about the lack of revenue for a lot of the communities, although that exists, but it was just, that coming together of people that they missed. So no, definitely we're so much more than just a festival for sure. We are community.
What can people expect to see this year?
Well, our plans have changed consistently through the last few months based on the ever-changing public health restrictions, and we were hoping we were going to be able to do something in person this summer, even on a different scale, but quickly discovered that it wasn't possible with the third wave hitting us hard. So again, our team got together and reimagined, and we are launching Folklorama Fusion. It's a virtual event, which will actually, it's cool. Like, it'll be streamed live from Burton Cummings, which is something that we've never done, over 3 nights. So Friday, August 6th to Sunday, August 8th. And each day will feature a different region. So first night will be Asia, Africa. Second night is the Americas. And third night is Europe. And really cool. We have 23 of our communities actually able to participate, which is fantastic. It's been hard because not everybody's been able to practice or figure out how to get together or felt safe in coming together. But we have a good core group that we're going to be able to display over that weekend. And it's actually being tied into our first ever virtual marketplace. And virtual ethnocultural food week. The food is extremely important at Folklorama, as everybody knows. So we have a lot of different partners and local restaurants around the city who are joining, so that you can order from them during the week leading up to the event, and then of course to pair your meal while watching the show.
Of course, you can't have a cultural festival without the food.
Absolutely not. Nope.
You mentioned earlier in our conversation pavilions, and you've mentioned it a couple of times. What exactly is a pavilion?
So a pavilion is actually one of our ethnocultural communities that decides they want to participate, and then within the pavilion, they organize their own operations team where they produce a show a few times a night based on some set show times. There's culturally appropriate food and specific beverages that sometimes people can only get once a year, as well as usually a little mini marketplace. So they can either buy souvenirs from that region, or they have other local vendors. Our population, our public, basically plan their night out. Pavilion, we organize the festival so that there's a minimum of 3 shows a night. And people will typically organize their evenings so that they're able to pavilion hop. It's like what we like to call it, based on pavilions that are located in the same area. They're throughout the city. So sometimes they're at actual members organizations. Other times they're in a school or a rented venue. So it's basically the home to that ethnocultural community for the week, where they welcome you and they showcase all of their talent, food, and
they're all not congested in one location. This is spread out across all of Winnipeg.
Because we flip weeks, there's about half of them, right? So about 20 or so one week, and then they flip to the other pavilions. Some of them are in the same spot. Some of our communities get together and they share a location. And others, like I mentioned, have their own organizations, and they're able to do it solo. So it actually gives people a really good chance to reacquaint themselves with the city. Sometimes even go to places, that they just don't generally go to. So we're really looking forward to that being able to happen again in 2022. But for this year, it's really going to be pavilion hopping through the few evenings that we have the virtual event.
The hope is 2022, we can finally have these large in-person festivals again. For communities that want to participate, how do they go about that?
Folklorama is actually a member-based organization. So the first step to that is to inquire with us about becoming a member. And once the membership is approved, then we talk to you about what you want to do. If you want to have a pavilion, then we set you up for best success by or having the community shadow with another community for a year prior to applying for a license, just to make sure that they know everything that's involved. It's a huge task. to operate a pavilion. So we want to make sure that people know what they're getting into. So they would shadow for a year, and then they would have they would put together an application and submit their business plan with respect to how they're going to execute things. So it's about a 2-year process between wanting to be a pavilion and actually having a pavilion.
If someone doesn't want to, have a pavilion or like perform or have anything like that, are there other ways people can get involved in helping the festival Folklorama, succeed and be the best it can be in the community?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, membership, of course, is always an option. That's just if you want to network and keep in touch with all the things we're doing. But if not, when we do have volunteer opportunities on a year-round basis. And then, of course, when we do have a typical festival year and we have special events and bus tours and a whole bunch of other different opportunities, as well as the pavilions themselves sometimes needing help recruiting volunteers, there's always an opportunity for that. But the best thing I'd say is to, sign up for our newsletter, our e-newsletter through folklorama.ca, just to keep up to date on all the great happenings, because there's a lot that does go on during the year. So that's probably the best way to stay involved. And
I hope I remember the name correctly. Folklorama Fusion, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. So when does Folklorama Fusion take place this year, and where can people find out more information about Folklorama?
So it's August 6th through 8th. And the easiest way to do it is to go through our website, folklorama.ca. There's a whole festival section dedicated to schedule, access opportunities, and everything else that you can find there.
Fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to share, Teresa?
We are excited to be top of mind this year and still involved somehow in the community. And we're missing the public and we're missing our pavilions. And we can't wait to get back to a normal festival in the coming year.
If you have any stories you'd like us to share or communities we should highlight, leave a comment on our social media or reach out to us on our website. I'm Ryan Funk. This was U Talk, and have yourself a good one.